Hello folks, I'm Paul. Welcome back to Recycled Model Railways. So, there's a lot going on in this one, so let's get on with it and see where we get to. As you've seen by the thumbnail, I remember the name again, the thumbnail, been out buying some bits and pieces again. I think I mentioned previously that I was going to be doing a toy show with our Mitchell. Got a few bits there, but toy shows, yeah, they're okay for model railway, but 95% of it wasn't. Mitchell was gutted because there was no tombola. So anyway, what have we got? Well, we have got a few bits, as you've seen on the photograph. Now all of it is from shows, some of it is from eBay. So, where did we get, what did we get in total? Right, well, unless you're like me and you like to count things on the screen, we got 6 more of those Continental cargo wagons. Got an idea for them because they don't, I can't find anything on the internet that tells me what you're using for in this country, so they're very definitely foreign related. However, I'm going to chuck a picture on the screen in a couple of seconds. These are some things that I've seen in some of the books I have, and I'm thinking not a great deal of work to make man look very similar. So we'll put that on the screen now, and as you can see, we've got couple of variations, but the one I like really is the one that has Fison's written on it. Slightly different, quite noticeable, but if you look at the trucks I've got, the really real major modification is to put them triangle shapes on each of the ends and fill out the indent, remove the ladder, but the ladder could be used for lots of other things. So that's the plan for them. We bought a couple of twin floors because one was £2, one was £1.75, so under my £3 budget. All of those cargo wagons have all come under the £7 that I set per item. There was a coach there, somebody was offering a coach and 2 of these wagons for, I think it was £19 something, again under my budget. What else did I get? Oh, the 4 buses. I picked them up at the toy fair. I think it was about £6, something daft like that. And I thought, well, for £6, why not? It's £1.50. They all need work, which I enjoy doing, and I can make them more realistic. So why not? I don't need them yet, but I thought, bugger it, why not? Something different. And then the other thing you saw was this Class 86. This was at the toy fair. I got it for £20. It does run ish. It needs a bloody good service, to be honest with you, and it needs putting together because unfortunately this isn't fixed on, and some deliberation as to whether there's a pantograph missing. We've got one here and we have the slots for one here. Now I've seen some of the 86s with only one pantograph, but apparently they did come out with 2 and later decided they only need 1. But anyway, I bought a second-hand pantograph, which annoyingly cost me more than the bloody train did. But I want it to look right, so hey ho. But that's the first electrified locomotive that I've bought so far. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. And the other thing you saw right at the very back was the Lima container crane set, which is somewhat off scale because it says 187 scale. I'm not that worried about it. It's brand new in the box. It was on offer at the show yesterday, which we'll talk about in a second. He wanted 35, which he'd already reduced. They offered him 30 and he took it. It's brand new in the box. All the tie wraps that hold the parts to the inner sleeve are still there. There's nothing missing at all. It's never been touched. So I have a few ideas about things I'd like to do with it, and obviously I don't just mean painting it, but there's a couple of things I'd like to change, a couple of things that I think don't quite look right. So at 30 quid, yes, I haven't got a layout. I know. Why did you buy it? Well, I'm thinking about making. There's nothing stopping me from getting a piece of plywood, and I have got containers and tank tainers. So I did want to have some kind of Freightliner outlet somewhere. So I'm thinking if I bought a piece of plywood and I actually built that section now, so that when the time comes I can literally slot it into the layout where I want it to go. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. I can make it completely done and dusted and do all the work that's going to go with it to make hard standing and everything else, and a little office. And many years ago I spent a little bit of time working at a Freightliner depot when I was probably maybe 18, something like that. I wasn't there very long, and no, I didn't get fired, I just wasn't on the site long. So I've kind of seen, it was the Freightliner depot that used to be at Stockton many years ago. So I can't remember the whole layout. It was pretty much an office at the front as the wagons came in, then they trundled up the bank up to the top end where the crane was, and then you were just looking at a load of storage containers and a little mini office, if you like, with a break room in the middle. And I thought, well, I can just recreate that. It wasn't anything fancy, you didn't have loads of cranes, it was just a one crane hub, and it got shut down when they created the one at Teesport in Redcar, which is a lot bigger. So yeah, the idea is we'll build what in essence will look like a diorama, but it'll be designed to drop into the layout when the time comes. So even though I haven't got a layout, I'm always thinking in here, when I'm at toy shows, when I'm flicking through eBay, I'm always thinking about, you know, do I like that? What could I do with it? How could I make something out of it? And I saw that and thought, there's the crane for me containers. Now I can, and during the course of the afternoon yesterday, I'm thinking, right, okay, I can do this and I can do that and I can do the other. So I have vague plans of what I want on the layout, but it doesn't stop me from getting the stuff now, rather than waiting however long it is and then paying 3 times the price. I buy it now and it gives me something to do now, like I haven't got enough to do. So where did we get that from? Well, yesterday me and Mitchell took off to Locomotion at Shildon. It was a model railway day, so there wasn't many layouts, to be fair. It was more traders. So I did say to my son on the way there, I won't buy anything here, because whenever you come to this show, all the prices have all been jacked up. I don't know why they do it, but they do. Everything goes up in price, and they don't really want to have a barter with you, and I think a lot of it is because they think they're going to take advantage of those that are just there for the day, who might have a model railway, or think they get one, and just charge what the hell they want. So other than that crane, I didn't see anything else. I'm lying. The 321 ton or whatever they are, these fellas, that was off Triang Man. I do with Triang Man at most of the shows I go to. Triang Man had them in his little box at the end, and it cost me 9 quid for the 3. Bang on target. I don't have many of them, and if I'm going to depict a railway set in the 70s, then to be honest with you, you need a lot of those, because they were, you know, hugely popular for shift and stuff. So we picked them up, and we picked the lemur up. So I've not been to Shildon for quite a few years, and since I was last there, they've built the new storage shed, so it's not to replace, it's an addition. So we had a look around the main hall, the one that's always been there. For me, I like to look at the trains, but I go more for inspiration, and I've taken an awful lot of photographs of buffer detail, badges, anything I think that's important to make your train look just that little bit more realistic. So I don't know how many photos we took yesterday, probably close to 100 I would think. And it wasn't just trains, there was MGR hoppers, there was all sorts of stuff. They have a souvenir shop in there where obviously you can buy all of their gear. I think I spent more in there on my 3 kids than I actually did on train stuff. But it's always nice to bring the kids something back. Good cafe if you're going, very good cafe, and I'm a bit of a coffee snob, and it was nice to find that they had Costa coffee there, right up my street. So all in all, yeah, it was very good. There was a guy outside doing free train rides on a electric-y train thing like you see anywhere. Outside they had parked up a 260 that looked very, very battered. There was a pacer. For those of you who don't know the pacers, you'll have seen them on the tracks 10-20 years ago. There were the trains where instead of having a double bogie at each end, they had a single. They were very rattly, they were very noisy, and they didn't go very fast. But they've got one of them there, and next to that they had a Class 8 shunter. So we got a lot of pictures of the Class 8, particularly the front end detail and the back end detail again. And then we had to walk up the new path they've made up to the new storage shed. So it's a very smart looking building, but there's nothing in there other than trains. So if you're thinking, oh, I'll go up there and I'll get some refreshments up there, no you won't. You have to stay in the main shed. It's beautifully done inside, polished concrete floors around the tracks, some interesting stuff in there. Like I said, they had a couple of local built snow plows from years ago. They had a Class 31 in there, they had an MGR without any sides left on it, and then an MGR in fairly good condition. They had an original wooden sided hopper. That was interesting to see, very interesting. There was a Delta, I don't know if the Dalek was in the main yard. That never used to be there, but it was a good day out. It was really a good day out. So you know, if you're in the northeast, but not that close to York, then try Locomotion at Shildon. You can do Locomotion and Hopetown in the same day. Now Hopetown is somewhere where we were at on Father's Day. It's not a bad place. It's fairly recent. I don't know how new. It's obviously resurrected from part of the old North Station, because the main building is the North Station, or what was. So it's not bad. There's a few, you know, trains in there. They have a cafe as well, and also a souvenir shop that's vastly overpriced. Big playground if you've got kids. I mean, my youngest Mitch is 14. He still went round the tree walk and went down the slides and stuff. And then you walk across to another building, which is carriage something, where you'd expect to find it all full of carriages, but it wasn't. It was, you kind of walked around and there was a few imitations of things, information. You went into the other side, and on the other side it was mostly stuff from the railways. If you've been to the NRM in York, they have an area that's full of like old china sets that we use and posters and stuff like that. But yeah, it was canny. It's free admission, like all of them are. You know, they live on donations and selling stuff, obviously. And one thing that, you know, maybe I should point out to some of the guys on here, if you've got a mobility issue, I do. I'm not going into all the ins and outs, you're not here for that, but I do have an issue that really causes me a lot of pain if I walk more than about 50 feet. So generally places like that, I have a wheelchair that I shove in the boot. It just makes it more doable for me and more enjoyable, if you like, not being in pain and being a miserable get. So if you have got mobility issues, both Hopetown and Locomotion at Shildon, very, very accessible, very good, ramps all over the place. Even to the extent of in the main shed at Locomotion, you've got to go up at the back end of the shed to walk up and down between the thingies, but there's there's steps or there's a ramp. So they do think about it. I know they have to these days. The only issue we had was we did get stuck at one point because where the tracks are outside, there was obviously the gap that has to be there for the inside of the wheel, and most of them have got rubber strips in, and this one didn't. The front wheels went in and I nearly come out, but not a big issue. You just avoid them. But yeah, if you want to spend one day in this area, Dalek and Shield, if you don't know, are not that far apart. You could probably make it in 20 minutes from one to the other, depending on which way you're going. But they're worth having a look, they're worth having a wander around. You can make a full day out of doing both of them, and it's history. It's our history. You know, everything is all about the old trains and the information on them. I find it like an intelligence gathering exercise, but a good day out, very good days out. So other than me waffling about that, have I actually done anything? Yes, I have, but I'm not going to show you because I'm going to do a video on it for next time. So I decided that I was sick of looking at all these models that are in front of me right now that were 50% done. So the last couple of weeks I have got my backside in gear, and I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 models, and all they now need is new wheels, and for 6 of them out of that, no, got that the wrong way around, one of them, sorry, out of one of them I've got, all the rest I've got to have NEM pockets fitted. Other than that, they are finished, they are done, painted, detailed. I have got the badges to put on, you know, such as chassis number and crap like that. I even did those 2 bloody awful resin printed wagons that I've moaned about so much. I still hate them, and I'd never ever do it again. 12 quid a pop, and they're falling to bits when you try, and then you're trying to get them out with a jig. You don't know what part you should go and what part you shouldn't, because there's so many strands holding things up, it's ridiculous. So I've had to do some of my own modifications, shall we say, where things weren't there or things had fallen off, and I had to put my own buffers on them, and I've still got to do the NEMs on them and put the wheels on, but I'm fairly happy with how they're looking, and they've got a load in them, so I'm happy. But I just think it was unnecessary to have to do that much work. I've said before, for 12 quid, I'm sure if I looked hard enough I'd have found some that maybe had less work to do. But anyway, so yeah, I have been getting on with all that, and over the next couple of weeks I'm going to try and get them all finished, which means that essentially I've got my 2 permanent way wagons, permanent way kits done. So for that we need 2 locos, obviously. Right, so the class 31, told you before, the class 31's coming out. So it's currently sitting in front of me. No, I'm not going to show you. It's sitting in front of me in British Rail green, post 54. It's got its white rail along the bottom, its buffers are all done, its front end, half of the front end, the lower end, is in the yellow. The problem came with trying to put the white stripe underneath the windows. I tried. God, did I make a mess of it. So I've cheated. Well, I haven't yet, but I'm going to. So what I did was I just painted it all green. Not bugger it, green. So I've painted it green, and what I've done is I've bought from Fox Transfers some white coach lining, and I'm going to use that instead. Yes, it's a complete cheat, but do I care? Not a jot, because at the end of the day I can't paint the white line. I tried it with masking tape, didn't work. I tried it by hand, well, yeah, my hand's not very good anymore. So it's going to be white transfers, and I'm sure they're going to be a pig to put on because of the length of them, but let's see if it works. Now, the other Loco is the one that you've all seen in countless guises, and it's been painted and stripped and painted and stripped and so on and so. And I kept looking and thought, you know what, I really don't like that. So guess what happened? It's getting stripped again. It's getting stripped again, but I have some other work to do with, because the roof on this thing was cracked when I bought it, and I've tried to put filler in it, and if you move the sides of the body, the roof flexes and it pops the crack, pops the filler out the crack. So I've had an idea, if I can get a hold of them, these little bits here, there's a few of them, a few little bits of card, and I bought from Amazon a riveting tool. Now it doesn't make them pop up. Well, it might do if you use the reverse side and you press hard enough, but I've had a little try and I thought, yeah, it kind of gives you the idea of rivets. So the plan is to rivet around the edges of them and put them across the roof in sections, so they look like parts that you would take off to do work, as in changing an engine. So we're going to give that a go and we're going to see how it looks in the end. I'm hoping it'll be alright. I still haven't decided what colour that thing's going to be when it comes out, but yeah, we'll wait and see how I feel about that. And what else have I done off camera? I do a lot off camera because, to be honest with you, I get on quicker when I'm off camera and I don't have a lot of time, so I don't want to slow the process down. And there's lots of people out there who are showing you how to do this, how to do that, and I don't want to be known as a how to do guy. I'd rather do it and then I'll explain afterwards what I've done. So the only other thing that you need to know, so you know where the hell I'm at with stuff, my three British steel wagons. Not wagons, Locos. So you've seen them a couple of times, and I kept looking at them and looking at them, and a few days ago I thought, you know what, I really don't like the look of them. They're messy, they're not very good. So they're in the paint stripper as well. And in case you're wondering, what do I use? What the hell do they call it? It's gone right out my head. I can't remember. That stuff that everyone was knocking up to make hand sanitizer. 99% pure alcohol, but I can't remember its proper name. Anyway, I'm sure you know what I'm on about. I tend to find that if you leave them in there long enough, it will strip everything. You don't even have to do anything other than just put it under a tap and brush the debris off it. So that's in there with that other Loco, and I did take off all of them metal, what do you want to call them, bump strips, roll bar, whatever, I don't know what you want to call them, but I took them all off. There was one at the front, one at the back, and one on each side. Decided I didn't like them, so I've took them off. I've filed everything down. I've managed to get rid of all the, where I went mental with the glue. A while ago I bought a little battery operated like a Dremel, but a very fine version of it, not much fatter than a pen, beautiful to hold, very easy to manage. And I just put a metal grinder on and I just went like that backwards and forwards and managed to get all the glue spots off, and everything else worked brilliantly. So yeah, I've got a bit of filling to do afterwards. I'm not putting anything back on. I've decided that I was using them terms, artist's license, far too much, because the ones at Red Car didn't have those things on. It was just me being an arse. So they're not going back on. Yes, they're still going to be yellow and white, but I might look at maybe either fading the paint down so they look a bit more worn, or I was thinking, because I have seen a couple that were kind of an orangey yellow, and I was thinking about the idea of chucking a little bit of orange into the yellow, just enough to, you know, just enough to change the hue, and look at doing it like that. So if you want to pass a comment this time round, it's that one. What would you do? Yellow and white, faded yellow and white, or slightly orange and white? Let me know. And if you have any ideas about that other Loco, the one that's got the cab 3/4 of the way down from the front, I think the last time you saw it, it was Loco green, and it had that god awful, I don't even know what it was, It's a railway colour. It was like a lime green on the cab, and I took it off and I didn't like what I'd done. So if you have any ideas on that as to where you think we should go with that, give us a shout. So I'm going to call that it, because I'm sure you don't want to just sit and look at my face, but at least you've seen some railway stuff. And yeah, we'll get back to you, and next time you can actually look at some things that I've done, and I'll try and kind of talk you through what I've had to do to get in there. So once again, thanks for the new subscribers. They seem to be coming in, I'm not going to say fast and furious, nice and steady subscriber count going up. I think I'm at 830 now, something like that. Didn't think I'd ever get there, but I'm at 830, and I keep thinking everybody and his dog does a subscriber giveaway, don't they? Should I do one? So I've decided that it'll be a while off yet. I've decided that when I get to, or if I get to 1,000 subscribers, those of you who've been watching before know that I bought a very cheap 158 twin car DMU that was a non-runner. So at some point when I'm getting closer to those figures, I'm going to do the repair on it, and I'm going to get it working, because that's all I need to do. It's immaculate. I'm not keeping it because it's out of my time frame, and it is in a local livery. I think it's Yorkshire or somewhere like that. So what I'm thinking I might do is, if I get those kind of figures, then I'm going to give it away. You know, we'll do a little kind of a, I don't even know how to do it, but we'll look into it, and we'll give it away to somebody if I reach that magical 1,000. So I'm going to go. Thanks for watching, folks. Thanks to all the subscribers, old and new. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.